the best way to crush her ego, it is something that is rarely brought up in conversation. In this video, we will go through 8 golden guidelines that have been shown to be beneficial in bringing down her ego through a combination of research and real-world application. Therefore, let's get started without further delay. Rule number 1, don't compliment her too much. Let her wonder why, in spite of everyone else, you don't think highly of her. Be special rather than praising her like a regular person. Simply compliment her when she completes a task successfully. Don't feed her ego by showering her with attention and praise. She may appear lovely, which is significant to a man, but it pales in comparison to the daily effort and dedication made by many men. When you feel superior, you subconsciously and consciously perceive her as ordinary or as though her life has improved, even though it may be the first time someone hasn't done it. She will lose some of her inflated self and return to reality. Rule number 2, ask questions. Asking someone questions that call their ideas and behaviors into question is an additional productive method for destroying someone's ego. It's called the Socratic method, and it's a terrific way to get someone to rethink their own behavior and ideas by posing questions in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable. This strategy is effective because it forces individuals to consider their actions and beliefs from a new angle, which ultimately may result in a shift in how they conduct themselves. Rule number 3, always provide feedback. One further technique for bringing down another person's ego is to present them with sincere feedback. Your comments must be detailed and helpful, concentrating on the areas in which they have room for improvement. While delivering feedback, it is vital to avoid coming out as unduly critical and instead strike a tone that is impartial. The objective is to assist them in becoming better. It is not to bring them down. Feedback is an excellent tool for assisting others in making behavioral changes. While offering feedback, it is essential to be as specific as possible while also being constructive. Concentrate on the areas in which they are deficient and offer advice as to how they might improve in those areas. The trick is to avoid coming across as unduly critical or hostile and instead maintain a tone that is neutral. Rule number 4, call attention to the errors they've made. Everyone has flaws and imperfections, and none of us are perfect. If you want to bring down someone's ego, one strategy you may use is to point out their shortcomings by using their blunders as an opening. It is essential, however, to do so in a manner that does not involve conflict. You can choose to not criticize them, but rather point out their flaws and make advice on how they can improve rather than assaulting them. Notify her if she's incorrect. You must keep in mind that it is acceptable for people to correct other people when they are wrong. Try to be as diplomatic, composed, and considerate as you can while pointing out the how and why. Her ego will shatter if you can find out her mistake. Rule number 5, use inverse psychology. The employment of reverse psychology is a potent strategy that can be utilized to bring down the ego of another person. You might open their eyes to the mistake of their ways by praising them for the shortcomings they possess. For instance, you could compliment someone's arrogance if they have an excessive amount of self-assurance in themselves. They will see that the way they behave is not admirable as a result of this, and it may motivate them to alter their conduct. Rule number 6, don't be excited to meet her. Most guys overreact when they have the opportunity to meet a beautiful woman. This demonstrates their liking for a greater goal, as was previously mentioned. Listen, when you're the overexcited one, you don't chase each other. You make it impossible for her to be enthusiastic about you, causing her to retreat. Her ego is also inflated by this. She will instead have room to be excited about you if you know how to control yourself and your wants. She will occasionally begin to question if she is the only one who feels this way. When that happens, she might ask you whether you're happy to see her. If you're not, don't let your guard down and start blabbering about how you dreamed about her. Keep your cool. This will maintain her composure. Rule number 7, challenging their position of authority. When someone is extremely self-assured or arrogant, they could convince themselves that they are correct all the time. You can hurt someone's ego by questioning their authority and demanding proof from them to back up their statements. This will force them to defend their position. You may help them recognize that it's possible that they don't know everything by doing this, which in turn will encourage them to have a more open mind. Rule number 8, be confident. Lastly, you need to have confidence in yourself in order to bring down the ego of another person. If you come across as uncertain or hesitant, they can interpret this as a sign of weakness and act even more superior as a result. You are in a position to stand up to them and make them realize that the way they are behaving is not acceptable if you are self-assured and forceful. Arrogance typically starts in a relationship when one partner starts to believe, for obvious reasons, that they're superior to the other. This might be the case because they make more money, have more professional success, or as a result of some mental concoction of amorphous elements. It's normal to feel this way, and shattering her inflated ego is required. Despite what some may think, this is not harmful. Most gods are considered inferior by women. She views regular guys as being beneath her. Her ego will be crushed when the roles are reversed and a man feels superior. Many men have become so feminine that they look to women for approval. They will inquire into her opinion on his gains. Some guys will even inquire about a girl's feelings for them. If you act in this way, you are acting more like a small bug than a man. Any man who is strong and self-assured would never do this. He is content. Thus, he does not need to go to women for approval. It doesn't ask her opinion on anything or nag her for compliments. The best method to boost a woman's ego to the moon is to try to win her approval. Be confident enough to be yourself and feel superior. Don't wait for her validation to make you superior. In conclusion, these 8 golden guidelines have been shown to be successful in bringing down the ego of her after being tested and confirmed. Yet, it is essential to keep in mind that we ought to make it a priority to treat women with respect and kindness at all times, even if they are challenging to cope with. These methods should only be used in extreme circumstances, and they should never be applied with the goal to cause pain or suffering to another person. If you find yourself in a circumstance in which her ego is the source of the issues, you should make an effort to handle the situation with empathy and understanding. If nothing else works, you may always try using these strategies to bring down their ego, urge them to be more modest, and open their minds to new ideas. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video today. We really hope that you found these pointers to be useful. If you have any further advice or methods that you have used in the past that have been successful in bringing her ego down, please share them in the comments section below. Don't forget to please click the like button and subscribe to our channel for other wonderful stuff.